Hello, and welcome to the Knitting Traditions Podcast. My name is Inga, and this is my little corner on the internet where I talk about my knitting. Today is a knitting podcast where I'll talk you through what I'm wearing, my finished objects, my current works in progress. I'm not a monogamous knitter, so by that I mean which whips I've actually put a stitch into since the last time I recorded. If you like what I see, please check out my channel, subscribe, see the playlist for the over 111 previous episodes. And today is going to be very fall inspired colors. I am finally feeling inspired to cast on all the things again, which I've been missing for the past probably 6 months or more. And I'm also feeling really inspired to knit on all the things that I already have cast on. So it's a balance there for sure, but I'm trying to plug away at the whips that I already have while I feel like it, because I think it's easier to find the inspiration for new cast-ons. So that is what we have today. 2 finished objects that have been long-term whips. And 1 new cast on. That is true. 1 new cast on. So grab yourself something to get cozy. I have a reheated coffee because that is the honest life I live. We can start with what I'm wearing. It is actually quite warm. I am wearing I'm not that flexible at this point. I'm wearing some ribbed socks, which I think I'm actually going to take off now because it is sunny for once and I'm getting a little bit warm in all my layers of wool. And then I am pairing some tweedy pants with this beautiful cardigan. This is the staffin cardigan, which is a pattern by creabea. And very fittingly, today marks the 1-year anniversary of her quitting her day job and becoming a full-time knitting designer. So kudos to her. She's doing great, I think. I love her designs. This particular design, I get out of breath. This particular design is knit in fivel, which is one of my favorite yarns. I really enjoy this yarn. It is a worsted weight yarn, I believe, from rauma. It feels quite similar to their fennel yarn, which is another favorite of mine that I've knit quite a bit in. But it's a thicker version. Beautiful color range. I wear this cardigan a lot because of the color. It just really fits a lot of my wardrobe items, and I need more cardigans in my life in earthy tones. So it is on my list. I have a whip I'm going to get back to, or 2 cardigan whips in more like earthier tonal colors. Just trying to move through my whips. So that is something that I need more of in my life. I will say that the yarn does pill quite a bit. It's a loosely spun wool yarn, 100% wool, and it does pill. I don't mind, honestly, and I feel like the structured or textured pattern in the cardigan does hide the pilling a little bit. I've never de-pilled it, so this is how it is with a lot of wear. And I'm fine with it. Only thing I'm missing is pockets, which I was considering adding on to this cardigan, but then I ended up not doing it. And I think it was a good decision. It is quite a drapey, loose fabric, so I don't think it would have had the integrity to hold the pockets with my phone and what I would like to put in the pockets really well. So and then I have some faux leather buttons, which I think are very pretty. My hair. and suits the cardigan really well. And I think I bought these buttons in Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, very happy with it. Used to use it. I wear it a lot, and I need more cardigans. I should prioritize. But my favorite thing to knit is sweaters. And do I need more sweaters? Probably not. But what have I put the most progress in since last time? A sweater. So let us section it into the work in progress and start with... No, wait. I didn't show you my finished objects. Let's do that first. I finished a very lingering whip. This beautiful piece right here is a big scarf. I'm going to take the cardigan off to show. It's the scarf number 59 by Biches, and the yarn was gifted from them. This is a kit that they have, and it's in their gros mohair, which is a mohair yarn, which is beautiful to work with. I find it very soft and very much non-itchy. Some mohairs I can find a little bit prickly, not this one. And for me, this has been a very autumnal knit. So I started it 2 years ago when I was pregnant in the fall, and I was knitting on it, and then I stopped. I think I went into winter and other things caught my attention, and then I really enjoyed the process of knitting on it, and I wanted to knit on it when I felt inspired by the colors, which is this time of year. And then I picked it up a little bit last year, but life with a baby was busy, so I didn't finish it. And then finally I picked it up again, and I think what was making me not instantly grab it was I found the stitch patterning, I'm not going to say intimidating because it's not even hard. It's just a stitch pattern that I can't automatically remember and look at the pattern and see what I did. So I have to look at the pattern instructions. So that was the only obstacle for me. Because for the past 2 years, I've been really leaning towards mindless knits. But I finally did it, and I finished it. And I have a little bit of yarn left. I was toying with the idea of extending the moss section at the end, but once I had gotten to the point where I was supposed to, I saw that it is a very symmetrical yarn. So the center panels are these, and then this is on the side, and this is on the other side. So it felt like I probably should finish it. Or is it even? I can't even see what I've done here. But anyways, this is the finished object. So I can, hopefully I don't mess with the microphone. I don't even know which way I put it on now. I think you could wear it either way. The only pattern that has a right side and a wrong side is this segment right here. And that falls on the side. So you can easily flip it to whichever side is correct. It is very squishy, very cozy. And once I tried it on, I realized I don't need it to be any longer, because I'll be wearing it inside coats. And sorry if this messes with the microphone, but inside a coat, this is plenty long enough. It would be too bulky if not. It's real warm. It's also a really good width to just drape over the shoulders. Don't worry, the light is a lot further away than it looks on camera. You can drape it over the shoulders and just wear it as a snuggly shawl. No, it's not even draped all the way. So it is quite wide. And I didn't even properly block this. I just laid it out flat to dry. The section here was a little bit more cinched in than the moss stitch, so I just pulled it a little bit and it laid flat to dry. And it worked out really well. So that is the number 59 by Biches. Beautiful pattern. And it's giving me all the autumnal vibes, all the Harry Potter vibes. And very much looking forward to wearing it this season. Another finished object that I have that has been, I don't even know how long it's been on my needles, but it's been on my needles for a while, is a pair of socks. And I love knitted socks. I have a lot of knitted socks, both because I've made them, but also I have a grandma who used to knit a lot of socks for all the family members. So usually we would get some for Christmas. So I've kept all of them. So I have quite a big basket of knit socks. But I like to make more. And I like to try new yarns, and socks are good for that. Both sock yarn, but also yarns that are not made for socks. Holding it with a silk mohair, for example, will add the strength you need for socks. So it's a good way to knit up single precious skeins of yarn. And sadly, I don't have the sock knitting mojo that often, but right now, with all the mojo coming back to me, I even want to knit socks. So I have been jumping on the opportunity for that to finish some socks. And I have not blocked these yet, but I put one of sorry. I have not blocked these yet, but I did put one of them on a sock blocker to show it off a little bit better than this. Now you get to see it both ways. I realized my sock blockers are probably not wide enough to actually block anything. So I should probably find one of my other sock blockers, because who has this skinny of a foot? I have quite slim feet, but this is flat, so there's not a lot of circumference here. Anyway, I digress. These are top-down socks, the way that I very often make socks when I have a special skein that I just want to make the most of, and also have it be a mindless, non-committal knit where I don't have to decide who is going to get them, because that is a constant struggle that I feel like I should make socks for other people that I love. But I get to a point where I love the yarn so much that I want to keep it for myself. And by not committing to where the heel is going, I can decide later. So with the yarn, which is Harry Potter Book 3 by Stripy Cat Yarns. I can show you what I have left. This beautiful skein right here. So this, with the intended mini that came with the kit, I knit 2 cuffs. I knit them separately on 12-inch circulars, which is my go-to, because it's quicker for me than magic loop. DPNs are off the table for me. Do not want to knit with DPNs. So I knit with 12-inch circulars. 9-inch hurts my hands, so 12-inch it is for me. I buy mine from Sannes Garn and Addy. And I knit quite a long cuff in a 2x2 rib. And then I started knitting a tube. So I usually cast on 64 stitches, and I use the old Norwegian cast on, which is a stretchy cast on, and I like the look of the edge. And I decreased to 60 stitches after the cuff, and then I just knit a tube until I was happy with the length of it, and then I did a circular toe. I used this same toe in one of my sock patterns that's on Ravelry, but I can never remember which one. It might be the rustic cable socks, I think. And then later on I decided where to put in the heel. So I picked up half the amount of stitches plus 1 stitch in each side, skipped a row, and then picked up again, and then cut the stitch in the center between the 2 needles, unraveled it until I had 1.5 stitch left to unravel on each side, and then I knit a wedged heel, which is where you knit in the round and then you decrease at the beginning and end of each needle, because I do magic loop then, so it's like 2 needles and you decrease 4 stitches, and then you knit a row and you decrease 4 stitches. In order to have more fabric for the heel, I started by just knitting 6 rounds in orange before I started the decreases. And then once I had 16 stitches left, I did a Kitchener construction closure with a needle to make it more seamless. And I think it's going to look a lot nicer once I block it and lay it nice and flat to dry, because right now it's poking a little bit on one of the sides. And what else can I say? Yeah, it's a very simple non-committal sock knit. If you look closer, you can see that the heel is a different orange, because I didn't think, and I know I don't have enough left of the contrast to do the heels because I did such a long cuff, and I don't knit with a lot of minis. I don't have a lot of like sock kits with minis, so I don't know like what length of cuff is supposed to be to have enough for the heel, and also it depends on what kind of construction you use, how much you use. So I think it would be difficult for me to estimate. So instead I just knit the cuff to a length that I enjoy, and then I did the toes, and then I just found a scrap sock yarn in my stash that could fit it. And I was toying with the idea of doing maybe white, but then I think that would look nice with it because it's like a bright sock. But it might look dirty compared to the rest once you wear the socks, so I didn't do that. And then a lot of my other scraps that would work with this were darker, more like moody colors, which I love. But I didn't feel like it was the right fit for these bright happy socks, which are in a way autumnal and Halloween-y, but they're also very much spring for me because they're so bright. So instead I went for, is it in here? This, which is Arveda, which is a wool and polyamide blend. So the polyamide gives it strength to be used for socks. So I used this one, and it's not the same orange. I'm gonna just wind it up, but I feel like it works. So it's slightly brighter and less color variation, but I think it worked really well, and I'm happy with it. So those are my Harry Potter socks, finally done. Needs a block, but knowing myself, because I did end up making these for me, I'll probably just wash them and wear them, and my feet will block them, because now I've already shown you, so no need to add that extra step into my busy schedule. So those were my finished objects. And then I have a very long-term whip. We can do that first and then I'll do the sweater. I made a blanket for Nelly and I have quite a lot of squares left, which are here behind me on one of these like blocking boards. This part is stretched out on the blocking boards and these are just stacked up on top. I need longer pins if I were to block them all at the same time. They're not even blocking, I haven't washed them. They're just resting there to look nice and neat and to give me a quick overlook on what kind of colors I've knit up this far. Because the idea is to, at this point, make another baby blanket for baby number 2, and then maybe at some point join those 2 blankets from Nelly and the baby together and make a big blanket for the family. That is the initial idea. I'm not committing, but I have made some more squares since last time in this beautiful autumnal rusty brownish red color. All of the squares that I'm knitting, I am knitting using rauma fivel because I love that yarn. It's very lightweight but warm, affordable, and comes in a huge color range, both solids and more heathered colors. So for Nelly's blanket, I ended up only combining the heathered colored squares that I've used. I crocheted a border around each square and at the same time hiding the ends that needs to be woven in. And then once I had crocheted a border around all of them in a light color, I crocheted them all together. And I am currently just working on making more squares. So this is a project that I do when I put her to bed. She doesn't fall asleep quite fast and I just can't stand her screaming. So instead I sit by her bed and I knit in the dark. I can't see what I'm doing, but this is just knit stitches. I'm knitting garter back and forth, 30 stitches. I don't slip the first or last stitch. I just knit them all because it's all going to be hidden in the crocheted border, so the edging doesn't need to be neat. And I knit until I have 30 garter bumps, and that is what coincidentally creates a square for me on 3.75 millimeter needles. But it works really well for that said crocheted edge to have 30-30 in both directions. And then I just bind off, regular bind off. I cast on with the old Norwegian cast on because it's my favorite, and it creates quite a stretchy square. I don't bind off tightly or anything, so it works really well. And I have quite a bit of squares right now. I have like 2 yellows that kind of are a bit contrasting to the others, and 1 old gray square that I didn't knit. It's something I found in my grandmother's house when we cleaned it out when she was alive, and I've kept it. So I might put that into the blanket at some point as a little memoir to her. Is that what you say? A memory? A token? Something like that. But yeah, so for now, I haven't committed to whether I'm going to do the same colors in Baby 2's blanket as Nelly's to have like a cohesive color theme going on for if I were to combine them, or if I'm just gonna go with what inspires me on the day that I do decide to combine the squares and then have it be more of a mix match if I do combine them. I also really want to make one where I use a darker color, maybe something a little bit more in this color scheme. And I think that would look really nice as well, but then maybe it would be weird to combine them. Then maybe I would need to make 4 baby blankets And I say baby blankets, but they are quite big. They're more like a lap blanket for me. But yeah. So decisions not to be made. We're making squares. It's fine. I have quite a bit already. Probably enough to do a blanket. But I'm not ready to commit. So we're making squares. I think the next is going to be green. And then maybe after that I'm going to do a ball of the dark brown because I only have one of them. I used the rest of Nellie's blanket. And yeah, I think that's the plan for now. And then I have my big whip to show you. So a lot of my knitting time has gone into a sweater. And I started this project last winter, and then I didn't feel like knitting on a worsted weight, oversized turtleneck during the summer. So put it aside, but now it's back on. It's the Aine raglan, I can show you, from Rauma. Very Rauma heavy episode. Rauma is a mill in Norway that creates beautiful woolly yarns, and I really want to go to their mill again. But the Aine raglan is the one that's depicted on the back of this magazine. This is their 425 fivel dame from 2023. So all the patterns in here uses the fivel yarn, and I have knit this one before, but I modified it. So mine is a turtleneck and it has a long split hem and a shorter, thinner raglan. I think those were the mods. And I love that sweater. I always want to put it on because it's just so cozy. The mods were quite inspired by the Aine raglan, so I finally got around to knitting the Aine raglan last year, and I'm knitting it in black yarn. So it's something that's nice to knit on in the daytime. In the evening it's a little bit more difficult to see, but it's a beautiful oversized turtleneck raglan with a split hem, a long split hem. Now I didn't realize how long of a split hem until I got to that point in the pattern. So I'm going to show you, because it's in many ways a traditional raglan until you split the sleeves from the front and back. Now usually in a pattern you would then knit in the round, and then at some point you would split the front and back, but this pattern splits the front and back immediately. So I have finished the front. Now I knit the front longer because I am quite tall and I want this to be a cozy long sweater that maybe I can pair with very high-waisted tights or jeans. And also I want to wear it this winter when I am very much pregnant. So I figured having more fabric in the front would be a good idea. So I added some centimeters to the front. Now it's going to be very difficult to see, but there is a ribbing going on the sides and then stockinette in the middle. And then the bottom part is also ribbing. And then when you finish the front, you pick up stitches on like the inside of the ribbing of the front where you cast on under the sleeves. So you pick up stitches there. So there's like a slight overlap of fabric, but it's not much. It's a few stitches only that overlaps the front and back. So I am a little bit worried that like my bra is going to be showing. But from all the photos that I can see on Ravelry and Instagram, it doesn't seem to be a problem. So hoping it's not going to be an issue. Because I often just wear my underwear and then put on wool sweaters. I don't always wear like other things underneath because I'm thankfully not very sensitive to wool. And I find the fivel to be a nice next to skin wool. It's like a dry wool and not the prickly kind. Knowing that it's probably going to pill a little bit, I think the black color is a nice choice for the stockinette fabric. It's not going to be like super visible. Everything does attach to it, like little fluffs and hairs and everything. So it's probably not going to be a dress up kind of garment, more like a cozy garment, which I'm fine with. So I'm currently knitting on the back piece. And the stitches I'm just keeping on hold on these like rubber cords, barber cords, jewelry cords. People call them all kinds of things. I love these. Use them all the time. And I'm just plugging away on the back. Since I elongated the front, I'm also going to have to elongate the back. And I only have a certain amount of yarn, so I have enough yarn for the size that I'm knitting. But because I'm elongating the body, I might not have enough. Usually patterns do include more yarn in their estimations than what you need, so it might be fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knit probably until I get to the point where I should start the ribbing section of the bottom, which is quite a bit further, somewhere down here probably. And then I'm going to do the sleeves, because if I then need an extra ball of yarn, that can be used for the ribbing, and if it's like a dye-lot difference, it's not going to be too visible. That's my plan, at least. It's not too slow because it's on 4.5 millimeter needles, but because it's split immediately after the raglan, it's a lot of purling. So that slows it down a little bit. The bottom ribbing was supposed to be 1 millimeter down in needle size. So 4.5 here and 3.5 here. I don't like when ribbing at the bottom cinches in too much, so I only went down to 4 millimeter needles. Usually I wouldn't go down at all, but there are some stitches to be increased just before it, probably to mitigate the cinching in, but then I don't see the point in, then why not just not go down in needle size? Anyways, that's what I did. One small modification, and I'm really looking forward to having this. I think it's going to be a very nice sweater to have, and maybe I can even wear it when breastfeeding. Because of the high split, I can just like flip it over my own head. We shall see. But yeah, that is something that's been getting quite a lot of my knitting attention. And then I also have another long-term whip. This is a pair of sock tube that I started last autumn at the K2P2 festival in Breda, and I finished the first tube when I was there. I cast on, I realized it was a bit too wide, so I did a few decreases down to, I think at this point I got to 60, and I was happy, so I just kept knitting straight. I didn't have a needle with me to do a contrast toe, so I just put them on a scrap yarn, so it's ready to do the toe later. And then I'm going to have to add a cuff and then cut in a heel and make sure I don't cut in on a row where I did a decrease. It should be fine. And I am also working on the second tube. The yarn is Woolen Twine Fiber Studio. So this is 100% non-superwash plastic-free wool. It's Corriedale sock, which is 100% Corriedale wool, spun in the UK, and The colorway is Henry. This was a part of a autumnal box kit that I got with like a coffee mug and a candle, I think, some tea, and this yarn. Beautiful. I'm not sure if this much of a variegation is for me. I am more of a solid heathered kind of gal, but I do think if I just find the perfect mini for this, it's gonna be a very nice pair of socks. So that is something that I'm working on, and I'm just really enjoying the little cute mushroom marker on this. This is a hand embroidered mushroom from Bobbles and Berries. If you haven't heard of her, you really should check her out. She's French but living in Scotland, and her stitch markers are just, they can make any whip interesting. So this is something that I've been working on. And then I even cast on a new pair of socks. Yes, I know. I'm going to another knitting festival in November. So on the 8th and 9th of November, there is the Knit Fest festival in Zurich, in Switzerland. It's the first time this event is being hosted, and I am going there, and I am so excited. I'm going to be going there as a podcaster, so I'm going to meet people, I'm going to do a little YouTube talk, and I'm just excited to meet all of the knitters going there and see all the beautiful yarns. And they're going to have like sections where you can sit and knit, which I hope I get a chance to, and just have a wonderful weekend. So since I started this on last year's knitting festival, because I don't really go to a lot of knitting festivals living in Norway, I wanted to finish these and start a second pair, which can be a pair that maybe I get to wear when I'm in Switzerland. And I just can't get enough of this color. I bought this at the K2P2 festival, and I really need to find the tag for this, but I'm afraid my daughter has gotten rid of it. But it is a wool and linen blend yarn, so it doesn't have polyamide or silk or anything. The linen adds the durability, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they hold up. It's this beautiful red wine color, and then it's slightly heathered because of the linen flex, which didn't take the dye as much. And I want to wear these at Knit Fest, along with a knitted sweater, of course, on all the knit accessories. But I just really wanted to wear this, and I struggled finding the perfect pattern for this because I think this yarn would look really nice in lace, but I prefer knitting stockinette for socks. If I want to be able to finish it in time, I think it was a good decision to not knit an all over lace sock. And then I was thinking maybe I should just do a ribbed sock like I did with my Rambler yarn from the Woolly Thistle, because I wear those all the time. But then I felt like this red wine colored yarn should be something a little bit more intricate looking, a little bit more dainty. So then I looked into the Florellini socks by Mariev, who is on YouTube and Instagram in her skein. She tech edited the Freyr sweater for me, which, by the way, thank you so much to everyone who bought the pattern or visited the pattern site. It meant the world to me, and I'm just so honored that people enjoyed my sweater. But yes, she has the Florellini socks, and I really wanted to knit one of her sock patterns, but some of them that I thought would be the best fit for this yarn were bottom up, and I had already started the cuff, and I'm lazy, so I didn't want to rip back. So the Florellini was top down, but I was a little bit worried about my colorwork tension to be able to get it over my heel, because I have tried knitting some socks before with colorwork on the cuff or leg, and that was an issue. So I will knit it at some point, but this skein, I really didn't want to knit something that wouldn't be worn. So I decided to knit a pattern that I already had that I know fit really well. And it's actually hiding behind the cones up there, which is a shame. I need to knit up some of my cones so it can shine on the wall again. But it is the Aine socks by Melody Hoffman, also known as Bee Mandarins. And I test knit that pattern for her, and those socks are stunning. And I know that getting it over my heel is an issue. I had forgotten why. I spent the entirety of last night weaving in ends for these bobbles. There are 3 ways of doing them. One is that you attach the yarn for each bobble. So that would be 8 times 4. That would be a lot of ends to weave in. Another thing was to just hold the yarn and knit the bobbles as you go, the same way you would do with carrying floats for colorwork, but that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of me trying to avoid the tension issue. So I went for the middle option where I attached the yarn and then kept a long tail to then use to knit the next rows of bobbles. So that way there was still a lot of ends to weave in, but only 4 ends per like triangle instead of 2 for each bobble. So I weaved in all the ends last night, and I also used that as an opportunity to kind of neaten up a few bobbles that were a little bit wonky or where the wine colored yarn was shining through. I'm pretty sure that the white yarn that I've used is going to turn slightly pink over time because it's already looking a little bit like that. I used tuku wool, and this is their 100% wool fingering base. So I use that for the bobbles, and then I'm going to use my rambler yarn, which I have left over from the Woolly Thistle. I'll put the link below because I'm an affiliate member, so if you buy something from there, I get a little bit of a kickback. This is one of my favorite sock yarns to date. Just the colors are beautiful, and it feels really nice to both knit with and wear. Very like warm, non-superwash socks. So I really like this, and I couldn't quite decide which one of these I would have used for the Florellini. So that's one of the things that made me knit the Aine instead, because then I could use them both. So the mossy green is going to be embroidered onto like little twigs. Also don't remember how I'm supposed to do that, so I'm going to have to look into the pattern. But for now, I think I'll continue just enjoying a little bit of stockinette after weaving in those ends, and then decide whether I'm going to do the heel construction which is in the pattern, or if I'm going to do my own heel construction from my Mors hair socks. So decisions at some point, but I need to just make them so this doesn't become an unfinished object, because I do really want to have these ready for November. And I think that is all of my whips. The stitch marker that I have on here is a little stone. This is a stitch marker that I bought from Sestra Negrena. I really enjoy these because they're gold, and one of the stones from there even has like a little fossil, which I think is amazing. I like those little details. So yes, that is all that I have been knitting on since last time. Once I finish the sweater, I think I will probably get back to one of my cardigans and finish those up because it would be really nice to have. And then I have a baby blanket besides this one that I also should finish off. I have the border, lace border left to do, which is a lot of knitting, but I need to have it done before Christmas. And then we'll see what calls my attention. I might be casting on something new. I might be casting on another Frere sweater in green because I want one. So we shall see. If you have the opportunity to go to KnitFest, I do hope I get to see you there. And if you're making something that is giving you a lot of joy right now, please comment below. I would love to hear about it. Or if you have some fall plans coming up. I'm toying with the idea of making like a roundup video of like inspiring knits from Ravelry, for example, but I need to find the time. And there's just so many beautiful patterns out there, so it's hard to pick a few, but I'm toying with it. And yeah, I'm also probably going to make another sweater soon, a very cozy boucle sweater, but I'll talk more about that once I get started. And on that note, I think I will go make some food, get a little bit of knitting in, and I hope that you're well. I hope you're making all the things that make you happy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!